Hello, students. Welcome to our polity session. In which this session, we will start the Constitution first part. So let's start with the part first of our Indian Constitution. Basically, our Indian Constitution is divided into 22 parts. Generally, 22 parts, but later one part was removed, known as Part 7, and four more parts were added. So at present, there are 25 parts, but the last part is 22. Like the rest part are added as 4A, 9th A, 9th B, and 14th A. So in polity series, we have to discuss all part 1 to part 22, and in the all these part we will cover all the polity session. So let's start with our part 1. The title of the part 1 is the Union and its territory, and the article in part 1 is Article 1 to 4. So there are 22 parts and there are 395 articles in the original constitution. We have to discuss the important article as well as all the parts of Indian constitution. So let's begin our topic with the parts and the union and its territory of the Indian constitution. So in this part we will cover first Article 1 to 4. What does Article 1 says? What does Article 2 says? What does Article 3 says? And what does Article 4 says? The title is Union and its territory. Article 1st. In Article 1st, the name and the territory of the new union or of the India is mentioned. Article 1st also says that India, that is Bharat, shall be a union of state. Very important line. It says India, that is Bharat. So there are two names in Article 1. One is India and second is Bharat. And India is known as Union of State, is a collaboration of state. Basically, 28 states make India as a union. So India is a union of state and India, that is Bharat, also mentioned in the Article 1. Next is Article 2. Article 1 clause 2. The state and the territory there shall be a specific in the first schedule. The territories of India shall comprise the territories of the state, the union territories specified in the first schedule, and such territories or may be acquired. So Article 1st says India, that is Bharat, is a union of a state. What are the territories of India? The territories are the state of the India, the union territories of the India, and those territories which are acquired by India are also the territory of India, and also the name and the territories of the union explained in Article 1 of Indian Constitution. What does Article 2 says? Article 2 says admission or establishment of new state. There is a slightly difference between Article 2 and 3. Understand, Article 2 says that administration or establishment of new state which are established by acquiring property. So if it is India, let's suppose this is the Indian map and this is Pakistan. If we acquire some part of Pakistan, then if if any part of a Pakistan is acquired by India, then it will establish a new state or union territory, and this establishment is known as or defined as under Article 2. So Article 2 explain about the admission or establishment of new state which is acquired by another country or another territory. Clear? What does Article 3 says? Article 3 also says the formation of new state but inside India. If we separate UP and Bihar, or if we separate UP and Uttarakhand, then this new state is established by alteration boundaries of existing state, and this is explained in Article 3. So Article 2 says there's if we establishment of a state if we acquire from other country, and Article 3 says formation or establishment of new state inside India only. So this is a slightly difference between Article 2 and 3. So according to Article 3, formation of new state and alteration of areas, boundaries or name of existing place parliament may by law. The point one is form a new state by separating of territory from any state inside India, not acquiring a state, or by uniting two or more states as part of states, or by uniting any territory to be a part of any state. So basically, Article 3 is explaining or saying that if India is forming a new state by separating a territory from any state of India, by uniting two territories, or by united any other territories inside India. If we want to increase the area of any state inside India, then according to Article 3, we can increase the diminish the area of any state, alter the boundary of any state, or alter the name of any state will be done by Article 3 only. Clear? What does Article 3 says? So Article 3 says all the things. Provide that no bill for the purpose shall be introduced in the House of Parliament except on the recommendation of the President, and unless where the proposal contained in the bill affected the area, the boundaries or name of any of the state, the bill has been referred to the President to the legislature of that state for expressing its views. Therefore, within such period as may be specified in the reference, or within such further period as the president may allow, the period so specified or allowed has expired. This is says that if we change in Article 2 and 3, no such fundamental basic no such amendment is required. If we are going to diminish the area of any state, alter the boundary, then the permission of state is also required, but state legislature, the president will give a specific time to the state legislature to pass the bill. So this is all Article 3 says. Next is Article 4. Article 4 says law made under Article 2 and 3. If there is law made by under Article 2 and 3 to provide for the amendment of the first and the fourth schedule. Later we will also discuss what are the schedules, but you have to understand this. If any law made under Article 2 and 3 to provide for the amendment of the first and the fourth schedule and supplementary incidents and consequential matter, so no amendment will be required for according to Article 4. So in simple terms, Article 4 says if we acquire any property and make a state, if we alter the boundary of the state according to Article 3, and according to Article 2, if we acquire any space or state, then we do not need to amend in the constitution. Okay? So no such laws as aforesaid shall be deemed to an amendment of the constitution for the purpose of Article 368. So what does Article 368 says? Article 368 says that Parliament can amend Indian constitution, but if there is any change in Article 2 and 3, no amendment would be required. But in 9th Amendment 1960, if we acquire any territory, then no amendment will be required. But if we transfer our territory to another country, then amendment will be required. There is a slightly difference. Article 2 says we can acquire, if we acquire the territory of any country, we can make a state, and Article 4 says if we acquire any country's property and we make a state, then no amendment is required in the constitution. Also it says if we lose our if we lose our territory, or if we transfer our territory to another country, then we require to amend our constitution. So for acquiring, we do not need to amend constitution, and if we are transferring our territory, we need to amend our constitution. So this is our part 1. Part 1 explain about the union and its territory. There are 4 articles in the part 1 of Indian constitution. Article 1 to 4. Article 1 explain the name and the territory of the Indian Union. It also said India, that is Bharat, shall be a union of state. It also said that the territory of India shall comprise the territory of the state, the union territory of India, and the acquired territory. Article 2 says administration or establishment of new state through acquire. Article 3 says formation of new state inside the India by increasing the area of any state, by diminish the area of any state, by alter the boundary of any state, and alter the name of any state. Article 4 says if we change in Article 2 and 3, then no such amendment required according to Article 368. But if we transfer our territory to another country, we need to amend our constitution. So I hope you understand these four articles and the part 1 of Indian Constitution which deal with the union and its state. Clear? So this is the part 1 of Indian Constitution along with 4 articles. Now let's move to our part 2, which is explaining about the citizenship, the method of citizenship, how we can acquire citizenship in India. So part 2 of Indian Constitution deal with the citizenship in India according to Article 5 to 11. So Article 5 to 11 explain about the citizenship method in India. So let's understand what is citizenship, how we can acquire citizenship, what is Citizenship Act according to 1955. So here we divide articles 5 to 10 before 1950 and 11 after 1950. Our Constitution Assembly was making constitution. That time it was a bigger challenge or biggest challenge for the Constitution Assembly how to make citizenship very easy, because during the partition most of the people shifted to Pakistan, most of the people are coming Pakistan to India, so it is very difficult to provide citizens for these peoples. So Article 5 to 10 explain about the citizens who was leaving India before 1950, and Article 11 explain about the citizen for those who came in India after 1950. So 5 to 10 explaining the person before 1950 and 11 19 after 1950. So let's start with the Article 5. Article 5, citizenship at the commencement of the Constitution. What does Article 5 says? Article 5 says that every person has his domicile in the territory of India before 1950. This is very important. If a person have a domicile of India before 1950, domiciles means if he was born in the territory of India, if a person who was born in India before 1950, if a person whose parents was born in India before 1950, who has ordinary residence in the territory of India not less than 5 years immediately preceding such as commencement shall be citizen of India. In simple term, we can say Article 5 says that if a person have domicile of India in 3 categories before 1950, if he was born in 19 India before 1950, if his parents was born in India before 1950, if he is a foreigner but he was living in India for at least 5 years before 1950, then he can got the citizenship of India according to Article 5. So Article 5 provides citizenship for those person who have domicile of India before 1950 in 3 categories: by the born, by descent, mean if their parents belongs to India before 1950, or if he was living in 5 years, continue in 5 years before 1950 in India. So it shall be the citizen of India. Article 6, very important article. He says right of citizen of certain persons who have migrated to India from Pakistan. So in 1947, India was divided. Most of the person are coming from the Pakistan to India and going to India to Pakistan. So this provides the citizenship for certain person who have migrated to India from Pakistan. Now, with anything in Article 5, a person who has migrated to the territory of India from the territory now included in Pakistan shall be deemed to be a citizen of India as the commencement of constitution if he or either of his parents or any of his grandparents was born in India. If his parents, he or his grandparents was born in India as defined in the Government of India Act 1934 as originally enacted. Now Government of India Act 1935 is no more, but this article says according to Government of India Act, if he, his parents or his grandparents was born in India, he shall take citizenship of India. In the case where such a person so migrate before 19th day of July 1948, he has been ordinary residence in the territory of India since the date of his migration. Means nine okay. Before 19th of July 1948, anyone can move to India to Pakistan. In from the day of 19 July 1948, both countries started preparing documents or basically starting preparing a seal to the migrant. In case where such person has to migrate on or after the 19th of July 1948, he has been registered as a citizen of India by an officer appointed in that behalf of the government of the Dominion of India on an applicant made by him therefore to such officer before the commencement of constitution form and manners prescribed by government. Simply, if a person is migrated from India to Pakistan before 19th of July 1948, he can take citizenship. If he is coming here, he was coming after 19th of July 1948, as I told you. After 19th of July 1948, the countries started basically providing passes to the citizens. So he has been registered as a citizen of India by an officer under the government of the Dominion of India. No person shall be so registered unless he has been resident in the territory of India for 6 months immediately preceding the date of his application. He only those person who is living from last 6 months in India can take the citizenship only. If a person is recently migrated from Pakistan before 1950, he cannot take the citizenship. He has to at least live for 6 months in India, then only he can take the citizenship in India. Okay, next is Article 7 says right of citizen of certain migrant to Pakistan. A person who has after the first day of March 1947 migrate from the territory of India to the territory now included in Pakistan. Article 7 says if a person is coming from Pakistan to India, he can take citizenship. Article 7 says if a person is going to Pakistan or during the division, if a person went to the Pakistan, he can take citizenship of India if he went to the Pakistan first day of March 1947. So 6 says if a person is coming from the Pakistan, he can take citizenship. 7 says if a person went to the Pakistan, now he want to come to India, then he can take citizenship according to Article 7 of Indian Constitution. So provided that nothing in this article shall apply to a person who after having so migrated to the territory now included in Pakistan and returned to the territory of India. He migrated to the Pakistan, now he want to return to the India under a permit of resettlement or permanent return issued by or the under of authority of any law. Even such person shall for the purpose of clause of Article 6 be deemed to have migrated to the territory of India after the 19th day of the July of 19. So simply term, if a person went to the Pakistan and went back returned to the India, he can take citizenship. Okay, Article 8. Article 8 explains the right to citizen of certain person of Indian origin residing outside India, not Pakistan. If there is any person who is born in India but living outside the country, if he want to return to India, he can also take the citizenship according to Article 8. Clear? Article 9. Person voluntarily acquires citizenship of foreigner state shall not be citizen of India. Means if a person voluntarily acquired before 1950 acquired the citizenship of another country, then he shall not be a citizen of India. Basically, in India, there is a dual single citizenship system. Single citizenship means we can take a citizenship of India only if we acquire citizenship of another state, then Indian citizenship will dismiss. So we borrow this idea from United Kingdom. United Kingdom also offer single citizenship. So Article 9 says if we acquire citizenship of a foreign state, then we cannot take the Indian citizenship. Next is continuance of the right of citizenship. Article 10, I explain about the if any foreigner want to come to India and want to take citizenship, he can also take this citizenship under the law made by the Parliament of India, continue be such citizens. So according to law, he can make citizenship according to the rule made by the Parliament. So these were the artic four five articles who explained about the citizenship before 1950. And Article 11 explained the citizenship of the person who born after 1950. The Parliament to regulate the right of citizenship by law. Basically, Constitutional Assembly says that in Article 5 to 10, we are explaining the citizenship criteria before 1950. And in Article 11, we are giving power to the Parliament. He can make laws and allow people to make citizenship who are born after 1950. So basically, all the power went to the Parliament in Article 11 for the citizenship, the person who born after 1950. So Parliament passed the Citizenship Act 1955, according to which a person can take citizenship after 1950 by five methods. So we have discussed the citizenship criteria before 1915 till Article 5 to 10. In Article 11, the Parliament got power. He can make laws to for citizenship after 1950. Now Parliament make a law known as Citizenship Act in 1950, by which we can acquire Indian citizenship through five methods. The first method is citizenship by birth. A person born in India or after July 20, 1950 but July 1, 1987 is a citizen of India by birth, and this is changes to 2030. So after January 26, 1950, if a person is born in India, he can acquire the citizenship of India. A person born in India or after July 1, 1987, but before 3rd of December is considered an Indian citizen. A person born in India or after 3 December 2000. That's why I said this is increasing. Is citizen of India only if both are parents of India or is one of the parents is citizen of India and the other is not an illegal migrant at the time of their birth. So by birth we can acquire the citizenship of India under Citizenship Act 1955. Clear? The second method is citizenship by descent. Descent means if our parents, either mother or father, belongs to India, we can acquire the Indian citizenship through descent. Through descent, we can acquire Indian citizenship. What is the meaning of descent? If a person born outside India or after January 26, 1950, but before December 10, 1992 is a citizen of India by descent if their father was a citizen of India by birth. If his father is a citizen of India by birth after 26 January 1950 and before December 1992, he can acquire citizenship. A person born outside India or on after December 10, 1992 is considered an Indian citizen if either of their parents is a citizen of India by birth. A person born outside India on after December 2024 is a citizen of India if their birth is registered as an Indian consultative within 1 year of birth or with the permission of central government after the expiry of said period. So he can also acquire the citizenship of India. Citizenship by registration. By registration means you have to stay India in this citizenship is basically from the origin of Indian person who can apply citizenship for registration. Person of Indian origin who are ordinary residents in India for 7 years before applying for the registration. What is the criteria for applying for registration of citizenship? So he has to stay in India for at least 7 years. Person of India origin who are ordinary resident in any country or place outside undivided India. Any person who are married to Indian citizens and are ordinary residents in India for 7 years before applying. If you are marrying to any Indian person, you have to stay at least 7 years in India, then you can apply for Indian citizenship. Minor children of a person who are citizen of India. Person of full age and capacity whose parents are registered as citizen of India. Person of full age and capacity who or either of their parents were earlier citizen of Indian Independent Act before applying can apply through the citizenship by registration. By naturalism, if you are living in India for 12 years continually, you are not an illegal migrant, then you can acquire Indian citizenship by naturalism. So any person who is not a illegal migrant can acquire Indian citizenship by naturalism if they meet the qualification in the third schedule of Citizenship Act, which include residency in India for 12 years throughout the 12 months preceding the day of application and for 11 out of the 14 year preceding the 12 months. And the last is by incorporation of territory. If India acquire any territory, then the citizen of that territory will provided as the or will become a part of an Indian person. If any new territory become a part of India, the government of India specify the person of that territory to be citizen of India. So basically, it says that we can acquire citizenship through 5 methods. Clear? Next, how a person can lose Indian citizenship. What are the methods through which a person can lose Indian citizenship? Let's see how a person can basically lose the citizenship of India. What are the methods? There are 4 to 5 methods by which you can lose the citizenship of India, which are also explained in the Citizenship Act 1955. Lose of citizenship. The Citizenship Act also outline provision for the loss of citizenship which can occur through a person can lose citizenship through renunciation. The first method is renunciation, the second method is termination, and the fourth method is deprivation. What does renunciation says? Okay, renunciation says a citizen of India of full age and capacity can make a declaration renunciation Indian citizenship. What does that mean? If there is a Indian citizen who went to the Canada and living in Canada, if he want to take the citizenship of Canada, then he has to declare a renunciation to Indian Council that I don't want Indian citizenship and I want Canadian या American citizenship. Basically, if a person declare a form to the registrar of India that he want to take the citizenship of another country, as we all know, India has single citizenship, so he can lose his citizenship through renunciation or through declaration because he want to take the citizenship of another country. Clear? The renunciation means if a person make a declaration renouncing Indian citizenship that he wants to renounce Indian citizenship and want to take the citizenship of another country. This is known as renunciation. What is termination? Termination is Indian citizenship is automatically terminated if a person voluntarily acquire the citizenship of another country. What is different between renunciation and termination? In renunciation, a person declare that he wants to renounce Indian citizenship. He want to adopt the citizenship of another country. But if without declaration a person acquired the citizenship of another country, then he automatically terminated by the Indian citizenship, and this is known as termination. So there is a slightly difference between renunciation and termination. In renunciation, the person declare officially, and in termination, he acquires citizenship without information, and Indian government terminate his citizenship. Clear? And the last is deprivation. Deprivation means if a person, the central government can deprive a person of their citizenship if it was obtained by fraud. There is a migrate person who migrate through illegal way and obtain the Indian citizenship if central government found it was obtained by fraud. Showing disloyalty to the constitution, if a person showing disloyalty to the constitution, if a person unlawfully trading or communicating with the enemy during any war, or if the person has been sentenced to imprisonment for 2 years or more within 5 years of registration or naturalization. If a person is adopted any citizenship and within 5 years he committed a crime, then the Indian government can basically deprive, through the deprivation, he can lose his citizenship. So this is our part second of Indian Constitution, which deal with the citizenship concept of India. So let's quick revise the session what we have studied in this section. In this section, in part 1, we studied the union and its territory, in which we studied about the 4 articles: name of union territories, establishment of new state by acquiring, and formation of new state by altering the boundary of Indian state. Article 4 says that if there is any change done in Article 2 and 3, that this will not count as the amendment. Part second explain about the citizenship. We borrow citizenship from United Kingdom. India has single citizenship, and the Article for citizenship is 5 to 11. 5 to 10 explain about the citizenship before 1950, and 11 article explain about the citizenship from 1950. Article 5 says if a person is born in India before 1950 or he has domicile of India, he can acquire the Indian citizenship. Article 6 says if a person is migrated from Pakistan to India before 1950, or if he before 1950 or before 1948, if he came before 1948, then he has to submit his registration and he can acquire the citizenship. Article 7, if a person migrate to Pakistan and want to come back to India, then he can acquire Indian citizenship. And right of origin of certain person of Indian origin, if a person is Indian origin and residing outside, he can acquire Indian citizenship according to the Government of India Act 1931. If his parents is also belongs to India, he can acquire citizenship. 9, a person voluntarily acquires citizenship of foreign state shall not be continued citizen of India. Then 10th, continuity of the right of citizenship, and Article 11 provide all the powers to the parliament that he can make laws to the citizens for related to citizenship for those person who were born after 1950. Then parliament passed a citizenship act in 1955, in which parliament says that there are 5 ways to acquire Indian citizenship. The one way is citizenship by birth. A person can acquire citizenship of India if he is born in India. By descent, if his mother and parents belongs to India. By registration, he is residing in India for 7 years, or if he married any Indian citizen person and he is staying in India for last 7 years. Citizenship by naturalism. Means if a person is staying in India for 12 years, and incorporation of territories means if India acquire any territory, then Indian government will provide the citizenship for those persons. By three methods, you can lose Indian citizenship according to the Citizenship Act 1955. Renunciation, if you renounce that or declare that you want to renounce Indian citizenship. Termination, Indian government will terminate your citizenship if you voluntarily acquire the citizenship of another country. Or deprivation, if you found fraud, you found disloyal to the constitution, you found unlawful, and you are communicating with the enemy, or if you committed any crime within 5 years of registration or naturalism, then you can lose your citizenship. So this is our topic for today. In this topic, we covered two parts of Indian Constitution, part 1 and part 2. I hope you like this session. Thank you.